What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout, and I am here with BT24 Archetypes tier list. Now we have all of the cards from BT24, so we're just gonna go over all of them in isolation on a tier list, and then once we get the tournament promos, hopefully very soon, we will do the BT24 meta tier list with like 40 leaders or such. So let's take a look at where all of these new leaders rank in just their own environment. But before we begin this video, huge shout out to the Coffee Club, our lovely patrons. These are our $2 and up patrons that buy us coffee. They keep this crazy content machine going. And guys, thanks a lot for your support. If you wish to join the Coffee Club, link to our Patreon is in the description below. And I think that's about everything. Roll the video! Alright guys, we are here with the tier list, and you know it's the standard procedure. Let's go over the tiers for the people who are new. Tier 0, OP should be banned. Nothing goes here. Tier 1, meta decks, the best decks in the set. Tier 2, competitive decks or decks which have potential to be competitive. So these are your either second best choice, the ones that will be topping the most alongside the meta dominant one, or these are the decks which have enough potential to be considered competitive, but they still have like more potential than rogue decks, if that makes sense for you. So tier 3 are rogue decks, of course, so you won't be seeing them a lot in the top 16s, but they might sneak in a win here and there. They might surprise you. Tier 4 is locals, casuals, you know, nothing wrong with that. You just go, you play this deck at locals, you have fun. You just don't take it to a regional event. Tier 5 is trash. That's like pretty self-explanatory, is trash. And of course, Tier 6 is the Towa token deck. Let's go! Alright guys, so let's start with Vegeta. So we are going over only BT24 leaders. I don't have Whis here. I would put him in locals if he was here. And once the TPs are out, we're gonna do like the entire meta breakdown, right? So now we're just looking at the current upcoming ones. Let's start with Vegeta. So my Bulma Vegeta, the red Vegeta leader, and yeah, first off, this one really leans into the Z Unison. You have a Z extra, you have a Z Unison, which is supposed to be like your big win con, but he comes out on turn 5, no, not 5, 4, with 5 markers on him, and it's just kinda, I don't know what to say. Like, I feel like it's a bit late, because he is 20k double strike barrier. He combos when he attacks. That's not limit 1, so every time he attacks he combos. So he's 25, and he has a minus ability that allows him to remove something ignoring barrier. I mean, give minus 25, I believe, and then restand himself to swing again. So he's a dual attacker, double striker, barrier, 25k on both swings. I don't think that's good enough. Like, honestly, I don't think that's good enough. I think it's okay, but right now in the game we have 30k attackers out of nowhere. We have 25k baseline guys that come out for very, very cheap, just waiting 4 turns to play this, and it's extremely telegraphed. Your opponent knows that it's coming. I don't think that's good. However, we then need to look at the archetype itself. So Vegeta, well, he has a couple of things going for him. There is a very cool upside. He combos once per turn on each player's turn the first time. Not he combos, he draws the first time you combo. So all of your cards that you combo basically replace themselves. Then he has activate main during your turn. You put one Saiyan under the Z extra, and then you draw one and discard one. Discard one is the problem here. He is similar to future Gohan, but he discards as well. While future Gohan just draws. But future Gohan is not really a balanced deck. So Vegeta also has another auto which it's not very good. if you have a red Z Unison with an original power of 20k or more in play, when he attacks, Vegeta becomes 20k and he gains critical for the battle. But you needed the Z Unison out, specifically, a very, very specific Z Unison. And that's like very late, and the Z Unison is not that strong. So the leader, if we ignore Auto, he draws a lot. What about the rest of the engine? The rest of the engine constantly draws, constantly charges Z energy, so you'll be flying through your deck and you will be charging a lot of Z energy very, very fast. So now we turn to what can we do with this actually, right? So what we can do with it is we can build it in a way where we try to go with Rush Attack Vegeta, because we are charging a lot of Z energy, so we can go with that one. We can try to build it like a good stuff fish. We have a lot of draw power here. The engine itself is pretty okay, but like we have to run the Z Unison, right? We have to run that one, but that's not gonna be our big finisher, I believe. However, once it is out, it's going to be buffing Vegeta, and the Z Unison is exceptionally hard to remove. So all in all, the big problem that is keeping Vegeta away from, let's say, competitive or from meta, what keeps it away from meta is the fact that future Gohan exists, which is this deck, just infinitely better. So other than that, in a world where this didn't exist, would Vegeta see play with everything that he does? Does he have potential to be competitive? He draws a lot, he has access to explosive dance, he has a good Unison, but is he competitive though? Will he be topping? Or does he have potential to do so? I'm not sold on this one yet. I think that it is in Rogue. And I have to explain this. So basically, like I've said, I feel that the Z Unison is coming out way too late. I feel that the engine is good. The engine itself is exceptionally good. But like the leader is small, the Z Unison is small, you draw a lot, but then you have to discard as well. He's okay. I think he's decent for like building up Z energy, and he can do pretty well as a generic leader, but I don't feel that this is the one that you will be actually playing. I feel like he's in Rogue, in my opinion. I don't think that he has any competitive potential more than other competitive decks, more than other tier 2 ones. I think all of them outshine him, unfortunately. What he has is that he goes naturally into his E extra, while some other decks can't really go naturally into it, but that's about it. Like, the engine is strong and everything, but I feel like he's just outshadowed by other ones. So let's go and check out Goku. Next up, we have the big scary one. Well, actually, we have two of them. Let's start with Goku. Goku is really, really good. So on the Awakened side, he is 25k baseline leader, which is insane. On your turn, he draws a lot. For one attack with Activate Battle on your opponent's turn, he can become baseline 20 for free. That's awesome. His engine is, I feel like it's whatever. I don't like his engine at all. It's cute with all of these, you have like blockers and then they die and then like you draw and stuff. That's cool. You're gonna be running a couple of them anyway because you want the payoffs with the blockers. The Z Extra, not the Z Extra, the Z Unison is, I'm jumping around. Let's just stick to the archetype first. I believe that the boss monster is absurdly strong. The boss monster is just incredible. 4 energy, destroy everything on the board, ignoring barrier, triple strike, and when he revenge, and when he attacks, no, when he is removed by an opponent's skill, your opponent discards 3, and there's a very hilarious interaction that you can do with this. When your opponent plays a Bardock and then you kill your 8 cost and make them drop 3 from hand. That's very, very funny. There is the Z extra card, You Fool, which allows you to restand the boss monster, so he's a dual attacker as well. That is the best card in the entire archetype. The Z Unison is god awful. I think that the Bardock Z Unison is really bad. Like, out of all Z Unisons, I think that he is the second worst one. That's how I feel, at least, about him. Maybe not the second, I forget some of them, but he's over there with the worst ones. Normal Bardock would have been much better in this. Normal Bardock is an absurd card anyway. So, what do we look at here? Well, because the engine isn't the best, but we can still run a couple of cards from it. We run some very cheap blockers just to get some payoffs. We run, like the 1-drops and stuff. We play Goku as a generic green leader. So how does he compare as a generic green leader to the other ones? He's weaker than Gohan. Like, nothing is as strong as BT21 Gohan. The deck is absurd. Then the rest of the competition is, for the generic slot, is Trunks Mai and Gobros. Gobros is ass. Like, the deck is just plain bad. Trunks Mai is phenomenal. Trunks Mai is absolutely an absurd, very, very strong hand destruction deck. But I feel like the best parts of this Goku deck, the best part that is the SR, you'd just run it in a different generic green deck. However, the engine is small enough for you to build Goku generically while putting in enough blockers and stuff and other cards that you want to have them get KO'd, basically, to make the entire idea of the deck work, because you want to have blockers who die and stuff. So I think he's going to be experimented. He's going to be experimented on his 25k baseline. That's nothing to scoff at. That's astronomically huge. So given that, and given that no one alive, I mean a couple of people, play Trunks Mai, especially like the way that I do, I can't really put that into tier 2 as much as I would love to. I think Goku is not going to be meta, but I think he's going to be competitive. Or that he at least has competitive potential. So yeah, Goku goes into tier 2. Next up, we have what's probably the best deck, or the second best deck coming out of this set, and that is the Green Successor Frieza. So, Successor Frieza is terrifyingly strong. He is absurd. The deck is just flat out absurd. So, for those of you who don't know what the deck does, it effectively allows you to... Successor keyword means that in order to play a card with Successor, you need to pay the Successor cost, which is, let's say, 1 energy, for example. And you need to sacrifice battle cards whose cost, the one in the big window, not the big circle, not the specified one, but whose cost adds up to exactly the cost of the Successor card. So, let's say Celzino, the most well-known Successor card in the game, costs 12, and his Successor is for free. So you can drop him for free by sacrificing cards whose cost is total of 12. Not more, not less. And these cards can be sacrificed when they are in rest mode. So what Frieza does is he allows you to do the same for his Frieza cards, but with opponent's cards as well. Yeah, You can kill your opponent's cards to play your big guys. That's basically what Frieza does. Almost every card in the game, almost every card in the deck can be a board wipe. He just flat out removes 1 or 2 cards, no problem, and then plays something. He doesn't have free successors, but they're usually like relatively cheap. What else do we have? He can awaken consistently on turn 2. That's awesome. His engine, his in unison is amazing. Cooler is phenomenal. He's super strong. The entire engine, besides successor, is based on manipulating the cost of your opponent's cards, so that you can actually hit the numbers that you need. It's very creative. And finally, we need to talk about the boss monster. The boss monster is one of the best in the game. One of the best ones ever designed. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's colossal. It's 30k. It has a floodgate effect. So basically, when you play it, it taxes your opponent for the next turn. So even if you don't kill your opponent, you just kind of say like, okay, now you can't really attack me without jumping through a billion hoops. Oh, and by the way, I just went and I board wipe you to play this Frieza. Awesome. It's great. It's absolutely absurd. Other than that, we have a Z leader, which is 30k. That's the biggest, one of the biggest Z leaders in the game. And he can restand your boss monster, so you can just keep attacking with it. Once. He can restand it once. You have to keep killing your Z energy to keep the Z leader around, though. That's a bit of that can be difficult, but there are ways to work around it, especially if you Z awaken on your opponent's attack. Anyway, the big minus, well, let's just touch on the last plus. You get all of the tools that come with green and yellow, which gives you access to, you don't get any uneasing rage, you get dormant potential, you get flying nimbus, you get cold bloodlust, you get King Piccolo counterplay, like you get charismatic villain, you get so much in this deck. There is one minus though, and that is barrier, because you can't choose your opponent's cards for successor if they have barrier. Like, that's, and we live in a period with a lot of barrier cards, so you would have to run Solidarity in the deck. You just absolutely have to run Father-Son Solidarity to get rid of those barrier cards. So, and that already costs you 2. It's capable, it's possible to work around this. And it's one of the decks that isn't being really tested online, which usually tells you that there is something here, because a lot of players, among the best ones, don't publicly test like the better decks. They test the cute rogue ones. So is Frieza going to be meta though? He's like Android 21. He's exceptionally strong. Is he going to be meta, or is he going to be competitive? With everything that he does, I still believe that I think Frieza is going to be just competitive. I don't think that he's gonna be meta deck. I think he's gonna be extremely close, but just the sheer amount of barrier in the game can be a problem. It can be a problem. So I think that he's like at least tier 2. He's like borderline tier 1. Okay, here Rudar, the big bug man. Is he any good? Not really. I'm sorry. I don't think he is that good. He has a very cool thing though. He can play a bunch of 6 cost beaters and then just beat you with them. He can attack like 100 billion times. Not 100 billion times, but a lot of times. He can swing. But other than that, he doesn't really have much going for him. I don't think that he is that strong, but I don't feel like he is really bad at the same time. So at least when it comes to Rudar, I'm not going to be talking about this a lot. What does he have? His engine is okay. His engine is pretty decent. He gets to play the SR and for 1 energy, and then it's like a dual attacker. That's cool. Then he gets to cheat out like the SR again. Like he can chain the SR basically. That's a cool thing that he can do. If he draws into multiple ones, he can just keep chaining them. But other than that, I don't know. I think that I do feel like there is something here, but that it's not good enough. Because besides what I just told you, he doesn't have anything else. Like, he doesn't work very well with the old engine. He can use some parts of the old engine. Unfortunately, he's not a revive deck. I was really hoping for a revive deck for hero, like blue-green. So he just kind of has things, and that's basically it. I don't think that he's bad. I don't think that he's like trashed here, but I don't feel comfortable in putting Rudar into rogue as well. So I think that as far we can just stop beating around the bush. I think that as far as hero goes, I think it would be fair to just put him into locals tier. So locals doesn't necessarily mean bad. He's just not competitive. Like I don't believe that he has competitive potential, but he's a cool deck to play at your locals. You can have a lot of fun with your Rudar. You just probably won't be beating tier 2 decks. So and some tier 3. But other than that, yeah, it's a cool deck. You should try it out. Then we have Turles. Turles is also bad. Like, I'm sorry. I think he's gonna be getting some TPs, so my evaluation might change by the archetype time. By the time that the archetype tier list comes out, it's gonna take a bit, I believe, before we get the TPs as well. But I don't think that there is anything really here to Turles. His guys are super small. He can combo if you order the cards correctly and you get like the high roll. He can combo with 5 cards from the top of his deck, and now you think like, oh my god, 5, that's insane. But then like all of them are 2k combo power. They're not even 5. So basically you just you got what? Plus 10k. You high rolled and you got plus 10k. Like it's, yeah. Turles is only, there is nothing, like the Z extra is okay, the 1 costs are just like, yeah, sure. It's really hard to dig for anything here, because he wants you to combo your 1 costs. He wants you to get like the bonus like combo power from then. He wants to play a bit with the top deck and everything, but he just kinda doesn't do anything. Like, even when he high rolls, he doesn't really do anything. However, there is a card in this deck which we don't know if it's intentional or not, but it allows you to switch 5 of your opponent's cards into rest mode if your opponent is yellow. So yeah, that one is amazing. And that one is not going to be played in this deck because I don't feel like anyone's going to be playing the deck. I want to put it into trash. I want to put it into trash so bad. I feel like it's still locals. Like, out of some weird feeling that I have, I think that Turles is going to be locals, though I'm really, really tempted to throw it into trash. And now we reach the best deck on the list. Like, the SS4 Vegito is so good. He is so good, it's insane. Because he reads it so bad. Like, when you read it, you're like, okay, like this, I don't know, man, like, seems kinda mid. Until you start playing him. Or playing against him, and then he's goddamn terrifying. His Z Unison is insanely strong. It's a 2 cost 2Z extra. It puts cards under it, which then you can combo with. It draws. It does so much. It pluses like crazy. And then you're like, okay, we need to find a way to kill it. But because it benefits so much more on your turn, you're also fine with your opponent spending 2 to black smoke. You just established another one and your engine goes anyway. The leader is awesome. The boss monster is absurd. Like 1 energy, 30k double barrier. Yeah, that's really, really strong. Other than that, what else do we have here? We have the counterplay. We have the free counterplay, which beans your opponent. Oh, well, that would be really shit. Which beans your leader, giving him plus 5k for the turn. And because it's a counterplay, it happens on your opponent's turn. Which draws you a card, if I recall, and then gets rid of cards with cost up to 5, sends them to the warp. So the card is just like really, really stupid, and everything that I've just said is for free. So yeah, it's a free Senzu Bean, then just kind of draws you 1, bodies a big body on the field, and then just gets rid of a bunch of stuff. It's really, really stupid. Vegito can use his activate battle to just randomly combo with 2 cards. Just give himself plus 10k, so he's like 25 now. The deck is just insane. Plus, it's Union Potaras with Goku Xeno and Vegeta Xeno. And Goku and Vegeta Xeno are they have some of the best cards in black by default. Like this is, I can't really find weaknesses to this. Like this is meta. Like this is the next best black deck in the game. Then we have the yellow bowl cut Gohan, the Icarus Gohan 2.0. Yeah, he's a yellow Saiyan. He draws a decent amount of cards. He plays the monkeys, which are okay. But other than that, like I'm sorry, for some of these decks I really don't have a lot to say. The monkeys are okay. Like you get 1 drops and then you pay 1 and then you play the monkey on top of them. You evolve and they have some cute effects. And you still get to draw, and you're a yellow Saiyan, which used to mean much more back in the day. So right now it's just kinda, it feels very mid, because even monkeys that you play are just kinda, you know, they're like 20k, they don't have amazing effects. If this deck came out like 5 sets ago, I would say like, okay, like this can be rogue, but I don't feel like this one is that good. Admittedly, I haven't delved way too deep into Turles and Gohan. Those are the ones that I have probably looked into the least. So my final judgment on the BT24 meta tier list, the one that's gonna have like 40 plus leaders on it, might change. But just going through the motions with Gohan, I think that he's extremely mid. I don't think that he's even rogue. I think you're just gonna throw it in locals. I don't think that he's that good. Like the other yellow decks are just so much better. Even the rogue yellow decks look better than this. So Gohan tier 4. Then we have Tapion, and Tapion is in a very weird position. It's in a very weird position because right now, at this point in time, Tapion works in a way that you can just combo 2 to draw 2. The wording should be in a way that you have to. The wording actually is in a way that you combo 3 to draw 2. But the rules are written in a way that you can just, because of when check marks happen, you can combo 2 to draw 2. So unless there is a change in the rules, Tapion is actually good. Yeah, comboing 2 to draw 2, that's actually good. Other than that, what else does he have? He doesn't even need to combo from hand. He can combo from the drop with his activate battle. You can do this on either player's turn. You combo 2, you draw 2 on either player's turn. That's awesome. Plus you combo 1 from the drop. If you run the Android 17-18 Unison, which you should be doing in this deck, you also get to combo 1 from the drop for free. So if you set this up, every turn you just draw 2, you plus 2 without losing anything from hand. Like that's amazing. That's really amazing. This creates semi good stuff, like a version of a blue good stuff deck, except he's not a blue Saiyan. He is Hero, I believe. So he's Tapion. This combo is the only thing that he really has going for him. The engine is pretty ass by itself. The engine is really not good, but you have enough space to basically, if you go play it like a healing pod deck. Okay, so if you go 8 copies of 1-drops, which just they draw, you don't even use the tutor ones, just use the one from the current set that draws and one from the older, like BT14 I believe, that draws. Just take those, and then you just keep drawing 2, plus you add the Unison into it, so you get like free combo and stuff. The rest of the deck can be something else. And I believe that just because you're running a 12 card engine, if you count in the Unison, which you don't have to do, the deck has a lot of space for basically anything. And assuming that nothing changes, and by the time we do the BT24 meta list, we'll probably have changes, unless Bandai is really okay with just letting Tapion be really crazy. Assuming that nothing changes, I would put Tapion into Rogue. Because if you get to combo for free without spending a single card from your hand to draw 2 on either player's turn, that's insane. That's not weak. In no world is that weak. So he is at least Rogue at minimum. And finally we have Beerus. Beerus is looking very okay. He's an arrival deck. He's red-yellow. He has cool tools. He has access to generic red and generic yellow cards. He gets to discount arrival. The Z leader is good. The Z Unison is good. The old archetype support, basically the tournament promo, the no holds barred, the super combo, all of them work very, very, very well in this deck. The only problem that the deck has is comboing. That's it. Comboing in defense, because a lot of your cards are 1-cost NKs. So, and you will be tapping out a lot. So to play, so you'll always have to have 1 card opened, like 1 energy opened. Plus you don't really go naturally into a Z extra. So the Z extra to establish explosive dance is kinda clunky, but you can work around it. So compared to other red decks, mostly future Gohan, I would say that I think that the lack of combo power in defense is really hurting the deck. I feel like there are builds which can be very, very good with this deck, but I don't feel like it is competitive. I don't think that it has competitive potential. I think that this one is actually Rogue. The reason why I'm saying this is, while the engine is amazing on your turn, on your opponent's turn though, if you play like against Green Gohan, for example, which you will be doing a lot next meta game, it's hard to survive his aggression when you run into a position where you just have to pay to combo from hand. It's really, really hard to survive something like that. So your guys don't have barrier, so Frieza is going to be using them. He's just going to be using them to successor his things. Vegito will just aggro pressure you. Green in general, like Gohan, Trunks, Mai, Goku, they're just going to aggro you down. Blue is gonna probably have a bit of a harder time against you. They can't really do so much on their turn, so that's okay. You can do something here. So I believe that Beerus is better than all of these locals decks. I think because of the old support plus the offering keyword, which will allow you to draw like mad, I think that he is rogue. I'm not super sold on him, but I think that he is rogue. He's definitely better than the foreign locals. I mean, like, that's not much of an achievement, but he is definitely better than them. So, here's what we're gonna do. Beerus is going into rogue tier. When it comes to rogue, I believe that it goes like this. It's if we go left to right. So Vegito is the only meta deck. Frieza is better than Goku. Beerus, I still think current Tapion is better than Beerus and Vegeta. Well, with Beerus being better than Vegeta. And when it comes to locals, I feel like it can even be like this. I think that Hero is by far the best one for locals. So yeah, that's the tier list. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. What is your BT24 tier list? I think some of my choices are probably controversial. I can see some Vegeta fans being upset. I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Maybe I can come up with something for Vegeta. We will see in the coming days, because I still have a lot of these guides to do. But anyways, guys, let me know what is your tier list in the comments below. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And guys, while you're here, hit those like and subscribe buttons. Help us get to 5k subs when I'm gonna give away a booster box. This has been Damien from the Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.